Welcome back to the Quantum Couch. Today's episode is going to be quite different than other ones because once again, I am joined by my wonderful husband, Patrick Conboy. It is December 27th, 2025. A few days after Christmas, my brain is a bit fried from all of the activities. And this podcast episode is set to be released on January 1st, which will be New Year. So for those of you who celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas, happy belated holidays. And for those that will be celebrating New Year, which I think most of us, happy upcoming New Year. By the time you're listening to this, Happy New Year. So Patrick, welcome to the show once again.
I'm back.
You are back. Tell us about the hat that you're wearing.
My beautiful hat here is from a designer store called Dollar Tree, and it was given to me by our 5-year-old daughter for Christmas as my Christmas present, and it is gorgeous. You know, we have
Those of us who
the
can't
Imperial
see.
symbol, a couple of stormtroopers, and Darth Vader here.
Wait, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You said stormtroopers, Darth Vader, and who else?
It's the Imperial symbol.
The Imperial symbol.
Yes.
Okay. So you're wearing a Star Wars hat.
Yes, of
And
course.
why would our daughter get you a Star Wars hat?
Because I like Star Wars, and I introduced them to Star Wars.
The classic ones. They haven't seen the newer ones.
The new ones aren't worth watching.
Yeah.
When I say the new ones aren't worth watching, I mean anything past the 80s is not worth watching.
Aw, I disagree. I think they're pretty good still. But
The
but
prequels
the
are
the
worse.
first three are the best.
The original three, yes.
The original three. You're right. The original three. So, Patrick, you've been listening to my podcast so far. Are you up to date up to all of them, or where are you?
No, I'm not. The last one I listened to was, and I don't remember names of guests, I'm sorry. But the last one I listened to was with I believe it was with a gentleman talking about hypnosis.
Oh, Dr. Akira Otani.
Yes, he was awesome. He was a great guest. I told you afterwards, after I listened, that I went to invite him to dinner. I want to hear his stories. The guy has a great voice, and he sounds like he has a way with storytelling, and yeah, I just want to sit there and listen to his stories.
So what did you like about that podcast episode in particular, aside from his stories? Or what did you
Aside from
like
his
about his
stories.
stories?
Well, I mean, his stories were great, and his voice was great. I can't say that I suffer from the general idea that hypnosis is only for stage acts and things like that. I mean, I do understand that hypnosis can be used in therapy and stuff like that. I guess I didn't realize to what extent and how deeply and what it could do. And so that was very interesting to me. Fascinating topics, especially when he's talking about how like he was able to kind of hypnotize himself as somebody pushed a needle through his arm or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. I need somebody to hypnotize me so I don't feel my daily ankle pain.
Yeah. I mean, that's an idea, actually.
Yeah, maybe it is. You might have to do that to me before we do this. Me and the other guys do this big hiking challenge thing.
Can you tell us a bit more about this hiking challenge you're doing?
Oh, myself and some of the guys in the neighborhood are doing uh, ultra tracks, which is a ski resort, nearby ski resort, and it's just a loop of like 7 miles rugged hiking. It's a challenge, but we're doing the second level, which is 2 loops. So we are going to be doing 14 miles of rugged, steep hiking. Um, all of us are, past 40, and so but we'll see how it goes.
And falling apart in various areas?
Yes, yes.
Oh gosh, well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
I will be home waiting for you with some kind of remedies and maybe some
Yeah.
light hypnosis on the side. Just kidding. I'm really not good at hypnosis at this point, and nor are we recommended to do it on our loved ones. But maybe I'll do some hypnotic suggestions, like you will be not in pain. I will do like a Star Wars, like a Yoda type suggestion. You will feel no discomfort.
This is not the pain you were looking for.
This is not the pain you're looking for. I love that. Yes, there you go. Okay, so you really liked that episode. Do you have any reflections on other episodes?
I do, yes. So I also really enjoyed the episode with you and Michelle. You know, for everybody who doesn't may not remember or hasn't listened to it, Michelle is was one of Dr. Conboy's best friends. Her best friend from medical school.
Dr. Marine.
Yes, and it was great because it was great to see you know the two of you play off each other and you know see your banter and everything like that. And I mean, if for no other reason, like that was fun. So I enjoyed that episode. I mean, I have to say, like, I mean, come on, you're my wife. I enjoy all the episodes. I'm a little bit biased.
You're just saying that.
I also found, I think it was your second episode, the sound healing one. That was pretty fascinating to me. That sound can do that. Um, I do remember in my youth seeing you know some kind of documentary on TV. This was before Ancient Aliens existed, and I think a little higher quality than Ancient Aliens, but like that kind of vibe where it's like let's explore some of the mysteries and some of the out there theories about things. And I remember one of them was about the pyramids, and they had found certain stones um, in Egypt, like kind of surrounding the pyramids, that when you bang on them a certain way, makes certain noises, certain sounds. And you know, one of the theories that came out of this, again, pretty far-fetched theory, was that the pyramids were built by levitating stone with sound. It sounds crazy, but then they actually showed like in like lab experiments and stuff, there were people that were able to levitate like ping pong balls with sound. So it's possible to levitate things with sound. Um, Again, a ping pong ball was like the largest thing that they could levitate, the heaviest thing they could levitate. So taking it a step further and saying like, oh, the Egyptians were able to like levitate these like 3 ton stones just by banging another stone to make some kind of sound. Like, okay, that might be a little far fetched, but um, I just think it's interesting that like this is something that is being studied along with you know how does sound affect our healing. And so that was really cool to hear about. Um, yeah, you know, I've enjoyed the episodes, all of them, I guess. Um, some stand out more than others.
So, what do you think about the podcast so far? Where it's going, and what do you want to see happen in the future? What kind of podcast do you think I should be recording next?
Don't know. I mean, so far it's very meandering in terms of topics and subjects, or so it feels. Um, and
Meandering in a good way or not a very good way?
well, I was about to say, I think it's a good thing because you're not pigeonholing yourself, right, into one specific thing. You're branching out, going all over the place, keeping an open mind. You know, exploring things that some people are like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. This is, you know, I'm a hard science person and I can get behind this, but you're also doing things that a hard science person would be like, you're nuts, you're crazy. That is out there. There is no way that's possible. You're talking about sorcery now, and that's not a thing, right? But I think that's great to you know be all over the place because I I mean let's be honest, it's all magic until somebody's been able to prove scientifically how it works. And even scientists are baffled by certain things. They're like, I don't know how this works, but it works. Um, and so, like, why not explore those elements of life? Why not explore those things that are um, not not hard science yet, not even close to hard science yet, right? Because at some point they might be. Um, and if nothing else, it gets you to think about things in a different way, even if you don't believe it. Even like use your not intelligent design, human design. We'll use that for example. I'm not picking on that episode at all. I just want to, you know, highlight a separate episode than what I've already talked about, right? Um, so even if you're like, oh, that human design thing, like that's not real. You can't be like, well, this is the date that you were born, or the X number of days before you were born, whatever it was. And those numbers are like significant, and they decide your entire future and how you're going to be and blah, 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 right? Um, those things seem very far out there. And maybe they are. But even just hearing about that, it starts to get you thinking in a different way. You can be like, this is nuts. I don't believe it. It's crazy. But then you start thinking, well, all right, what factors do affect how we are, and how early do they start, right? Is what I do in life as an adult, like, is how far back is it affected? Is it affected from the first day I'm born? Like whether or not the doctor smacks my ass or not? Like,
We say "but" on this podcast.
we say five.
Booty would be better, probably, by our 5-year-old.
um, but you get my point. It just it makes you think differently, and that's again, even if it's not hard science, and even if it's crazy and out there, it can give you ideas that can lead to good hard science. I think anyway. Um, Saying this not as a scientist at
But I
all.
mean, but I think you're a pretty logical person, and I think if nothing else, when we're listening to these ideas that seem out there, at least it also sharpens our critical thinking. We may not necessarily agree with all of it or believe in it, but it also helps us to understand why not. And then we can build our own ideas or thoughts about why does this seem outrageous to us. And often a lot of these things don't have particular science proving against it or for it. And so it's one of those things where it seems out there, like you said, it seems magical until maybe it no longer does in some ways. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, you've heard me talk about the Telepathy Tapes podcast, which has a lot of controversy, but there's a lot of things that they're discussing on it that makes you scratch your head, whether science has proven things or not, but there's like telepathy possibly happening among non-speaking autistic community. And then there's also telepathy happening possibly, or whatever it is that you want to call it. Telepathy is just a general term, or happening among animals, or humans and animals. There's just a lot of different interesting things coming up. But again, whether we align with it or not, whether we think it's bonkers, it makes us think. But if we just keep our heads in the sand and just only follow that which has been proven, then we really
Can't
are
prove
living.
anything else.
What?
You can't if you only follow that which has been proven, you cannot prove anything else or anything new.
Touche, exactly. You have to be open in some ways for things to come in order for you to acknowledge or not, or basically decide whether this is something that is worthy of further exploration or not. Yeah. Now, I think that people who are still fighting for the Earth being flat is probably not the way to go, because there still is a group out there who believes that. Um, but to each their own. I mean, but this is again critical thinking. You have to sit there and be like, okay, why do they think this way? And does this make sense? To me, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't, because you see their arguments online all the time, and you're like, "What are you nuts?" Yes, you must be nuts, because you're throwing out all logic and all common sense and all science and all that. You're like, "Oh, um, your facts are wrong because I think they are."
You know, it will sound kind of weird, but in some ways, I actually really respect people who do question even the basics, because we're taught certain things in school and this is how it is. And speaking of critical thinking, these people are questioning whether any of this is true. In some ways, they're going back to square one. And so, I mean, I do
Sure.
have some respect there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, yes and no. Like, it's one thing to question the basics, like, and I think you can question a lot of hard science and things like that. Um, it's the fact that you say, okay, is this really accurate? Is this really true? Prove it to me. And then when it is proven to them, they still say like, no, I don't believe it. Like, all right, that's where, it falls off a cliff. It's like, sure, like let's question, the basics. that let's get into our kids' lives, for example, right now. Um, we were in school. 2 plus 2 equals 4 because that's what it equals, and that's what you memorize, and that's that, right? And that's how we grew up. That 2 plus 2 equals 4 because 2 plus 2 equals 4. Um, Now, over the past like decade or so, they've introduced what's called Common Core math, which I had to learn some of in college. Um, and it's not 2 plus 2 equals 4 anymore. It's 2 plus 2 equals 4 because X, Y, and Z. Not equation X, Y, Z, but just in general fill in the blank X, Y, Z. And they're taught the different theorems and everything that where they can figure out how 2 plus 2 equals 4 and why 2 plus 2 equals 4. And that's where, again, going back to what I said, like, it's not just like the earth is round. Oh, I'm not going to believe it. Give me a reason why it's round. But then when they do give that reason, they still can't see that. And that's where I think the issue is. Being given the tools to understand why this is the way it is important. And that's what's happening with like the Common Core and stuff. But again, it's the people that even reject those things, even though it's proven to them, where I think that's a problem.
Hmm. I mean, I wonder if there is just this general, and then maybe we're expanding beyond this podcast, this general distrust of information that we're fed by authorities. Like there's this general distrust of authorities and a general
I,
distrust of whether the information we're getting is actually true. And it seems like that is just a prevalent theme of the past few years of where it's really difficult to sift through the data that we're getting and information and really figure out
yes,
what is the truth and what does that even mean, the truth.
yes. I think it's more than just the past few years. I remember reading an article or two on this, where these studies have been done. I don't remember if it was like it might have been the Atlantic or the Washington Post or Politico or I don't know. Um, but there have been places that have done studies regarding people believing what is the information that's given to them, and there is a natural distrust at this point of expert figures and expert information, which is a little bit ridiculous because no, I'm sorry, you spending 2 hours on Google is not the same as somebody spending like 6 to 8 years earning higher degrees in a specific field and becoming an expert on it. Like it's not.
But then with AI rising and all the information that is available to us in a heartbeat and all of this research that
Yeah,
it
but you
can
can't
do
trust
for
it.
you.
You can't trust any of it because AI is very good at hallucinating. And AI also, it AI is not artificial intelligence. AI is right now all we have are large language models, which are essentially like it's like a search engine on steroids, right? It goes through, it understands language, so it can piece things together, and it goes through millions of search results very quickly and takes a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here and kind of rational. I mean, I can't even say it rationalizes it because that's one of the big things where that it doesn't do, but it puts that information together, and it will hallucinate at times and like make things up. And if it cites something, it tells you, yes, this is the color yellow because somebody on Reddit said it was yellow. The point is that AI does not rationalize, and it doesn't
It
it doesn't
doesn't have critical thinking.
doesn't have critical thinking,
Hmm.
and that's the thing. We don't have general intelligence. It doesn't exist. Um, it is again the way I see it. It's a search engine on steroids. It can do much more than when you just type something into Google and it spits out results based on keywords. It can actually kind of like understand the words that are in it and put it together and synthesize it for you. And don't get me wrong, it's I use it all the time. It's great. Like, if I want like planning suggestions for our specific situation in our backyard, like it's great at searching the web and saying like this is going to grow in your agriculture zone with your type of soil and your amount of sun. Like that takes me a long time to find in Google. ChatGPT gives it to me in a matter of seconds. Like that's great for that. Or like compare and contrast these two products like on these merits. Okay, it's very useful for that. But to be like, let's think about this in a critical way. uh I would question anybody who's really, putting their stock in AI when they're using it in that way.
Speaking of truth and trying to figure things out, I mean, AI is getting better and better with creating videos, fake videos of things. And so far, sometimes you can figure it out. Like, for example, it's still not very good with letters. And so if you look at a video and there's some letters written somewhere and they're all gibberish, written in an alien language, then you know it's probably made by AI. But I mean, maybe in a few years that will be fixed. And then I feel like we're going to be in deep doo-doo if we have so many videos that will be created that will be fake.
Yeah, I think that's a big concern. Uh, there are definitely still like telltale signs in AI videos, especially when you're talking about like people like fingers blending together and coming apart and stuff like that, um, or just like movements where a portion of their body moves into or just people acting in a non-realistic way. Like there are ways, there are definitely telltale signs, but I think that yeah, in a few years, I'm given like 2 years ago, like you could barely do that, and now it's like almost photorealistic. Um, yeah, it's kind of scary, and I think there needs to be some limits, and there needs to be some kind of oversight in some ways. Otherwise, there could be some major problems that happen with AI like that. But it's cool. Like I play around with it sometimes, um, and
You know,
it's
I know you create
fun.
tarot cards for me using different images.
Yes, yes. I think your ladies at the Halloween party had a lot of fun with the tarot cards I made with their faces using AI.
Yes. Patrick created like I don't know about 12 or 13 different cards for a Halloween party that I hosted of um my friends being particular tarot cards, which was really cool. Great job. But it took you a while because it was creating some really weird images
Yes,
for
yeah.
like,
And that's like I said, that's the thing. It's like I mean, you're moving into image generators versus what we were talking about, the large language models. Um, but it doesn't always follow the prompts perfectly or very well. You say like, um, no, this person needs to be holding their hand above their head, and you get an image where the arm is straight out to the side, like 4 times in a row, and you're like, no, hand above the head. Oh my God, just put the damn hand straight up. But I feel like if you really want to advance AI, like let's work on getting it to follow prompts um, correctly before we work on trying to make things more realistic.
that's so true. Or, for example, there was this thing going around on social media where if you input this prompt into ChatGPT or into AI, you get a particular picture, which was basically like a bunch of instructions for a woman sitting in a photo studio dressed up in a golden dress with like candy cane background. And I put my photo in, and it gave me a photo that looked nothing like me. And then just for giggles, I put in a photo of of Patrick into the whole thing, and it actually came out really nice. I mean, Patrick looks really good in a golden dress, and it looked like him, except I did not look anything like me, so I was a bit disappointed.
There, I've seen some more of those things. There was one for like a Viking warrior and stuff, and yeah,
Ooh, I want to do that. Maybe I'll look better as a Viking warrior than me
I'll
in a
have to
golden
find that
dress.
one. We'll try it out. Um,
So
yeah.
going forward to 2026, what do you think that what are your desires and dreams for my podcast, and what are your desires and dreams for in general in 2026?
Well, we won't get into my general desires and dreams. It's not 2026 yet, and I haven't thought about that yet. I mean, you promised like quantum stuff, and I think that was touched upon. I think you said it was touched upon in the next podcast that I haven't listened to yet.
Yeah, with Liz Allison.
But I want more of that. I want to see more of like the scientists and like physics and stuff like that, and hear some of that. I'm interested to see how stuff like blends together personally. Um, so more of that would be really cool and a lot of fun. Now I'm going to turn around on you and start asking you questions. So yeah, you've been doing this for a few months now. Um, what do you think so far?
It's actually really fun. I've been really enjoying doing podcasting, primarily because I really am enjoying talking to people who are so interesting. Um, it does take up a lot of time, which I think I sort of knew in theory, but didn't realize just how much time it is. Thankfully, I love it so much that I'm enjoying the process itself. But it is not easy to edit, and the marketing piece, which I'm not really doing a very good job because I don't really care as much about marketing, but the getting information out there into social media like Instagram is probably the hardest piece for me, and something that perhaps I enjoy the least, because it's not something that brings joy to my heart to post. But I do enjoy this process, the talking, the creating. Um, but I really am really liking it. So I have some really interesting people lined up for 2026 already. And I can't wait to speak to them, to record, to get it out there. I do have a physicist who I'll be speaking with, which I'm really excited about. And I need to get more physicists and philosophers and scientists in general. So far, I've been speaking to a lot of the medical community only because that's the community that's easier for me to tap into. But I do plan on expanding. It's just a bit more difficult to find these people for me because I'm not part of their community. So if you are listening to this podcast and if you are a physicist, a philosopher, a scientist, please reach out to me if you think there's anything that you would like to talk in this podcast about. That is, I guess, my goal for 2026 is to expand my horizons and speak to more people. And I still need to do the podcast episode with you. That is also my goal, where you and I explore your Temazcal ceremony. Patrick and I were in Mexico together a few years ago, and he had quite a mystical and spiritual experience in a traditional Mayan sweat lodge called Temazcal. And I think that that would be awesome to talk about, and I'm looking forward to having that episode with you.
Yeah, well, you have to wait until I build out my office because nobody wants to see this big blank white wall behind me. They want something nice looking.
Well,
So
yeah,
I gotta.
but that's really important to when
It is,
we're
yes,
doing a
it's
podcast.
important. It's very important. So once that's built out, yes, you can. Then
Then it probably will be years before we actually have that episode.
no, it's happening this year.
That's your goal for 2026 is to build out your office.
Yes, the first half of 2026. I've waited too long already.
For those of you who don't know, Patrick is a very talented woodworker, and so he's planning on creating his whole office by hand.
Yes,
My desk actually that I'm sitting at was created by his company.
the desk that nobody can see.
Yeah, that's true. No one can see it. What is your company's name, Patrick?
Blackthorn Woodworks LLC.
Yeah, that's his little baby company on the side.
All right, so here's another big question for you. What have you learned from speaking to all these different people so far? Um,
Oh my God.
in general.
I'm learning so much. I mean, there's so many areas and details that I really had no idea about. Like, for example, you brought up human design. I had no idea what human design even is before I spoke to Dr. Cisneros about it because I knew about astrology, I knew about some other things, but nothing about human design. And I found that to be really fascinating. I have no idea about sound and the research that is being done on sound on cancer cells. I mean, every single episode that I have had and every single recording I have made, first of all, I really enjoyed learning new things, but also the dialogue, the intelligence a lot of these people have. Well, actually, all of these people have is mind boggling. And I don't really get to talk about these things in my day to day life. I mean, I bug you with a lot of these things, and you and I talk about them, but it's also really nice to talk to other people who have similar interests and for me not to feel alone. Like this podcast, even though I'm sitting in my office and I am in my own four walls, it is connecting me to others. And that feeling of connection has been incredible. And then I talk to someone and then they are like, oh, I think you'd really enjoy talking to this person. And they connect me with that person. And so it's been a very overall connecting journey. So that's the theme, connection,
So speaking of connection, are you connecting any of these pieces together? Hypnosis with human design, with sound healing, with osteop ah, osteopathy.
Say that again 3 times, very fast.
Osteopathy. Yeah, no, I can't. I can't.
Yes, I mean, I think that they're all connected. It all brings us to this idea that there is something, I think, greater than what we can see and feel in our day-to-day life, that human connection or connection as a whole is the theme of life, where we're meant to connect with each other and the world at large. And whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever it is, there's definitely something connecting all of us. And in what way is that, is a lot of it is being explored, but the process of connecting, of what we're connecting to, and how it's all manifesting itself is, I think, the theme here, and how it all plays out. It's really fascinating. I do believe that the world that we live in right now is only a small portion of the world that we cannot see and that we cannot necessarily feel. Some of us can feel it, some of us cannot. But there feels like there's more to it all. And as a curious person, I want to know. What do you think?
That's your question. That's
I
your
know, but I want to know what you think about connection. What do you think that all of this is about?
um
What is life about? Come on.
42. I guess not to be a cop out yet, but I don't have enough information.
But
I mean, you know
don't you
me.
want to know more information? That's kind of the whole point. That's what I'm trying
Yes,
to get, more
yes, I
information.
do. I do. But you know me, I'm very passive in a lot of ways in that sense, and I'm still taking a lot of this information in and understanding it. And when I start to see connections, I'll start to make the connections, you know. Um,
I
right
feel like I'm
now,
a weaver. You know, like we watched what is that show called we just finished watching? Vampire
oh, a discovery of witches.
The Discovery of Witches. There we
Yeah.
go. Thank you. Um, you know how she's a weaver, the main character? And so she takes a lot of these things and weaves them into spells. But I feel like I'm a weaver of information. Like I see these strings that are all over in the universe and the world and various subjects, and I somehow can like put them all together. And then once you weave them, somehow we'll be able to see this bigger picture. But it feels like this universe is just full of these strings and information to be weaved, to be woven. Woven,
Yes,
right?
woven.
Yes.
Woven. All right, it's time for your lightning round.
My lightning round. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
yes, I'm doing it to you.
All right.
Okay. Uh, Christmas or Russian New Year?
Oh, that's a difficult one. So it used to be New Year because that's how I was born, that's how I was raised. But as I got older and you celebrate Christmas and we started celebrating Christmas with our girls, it just feels like Christmas is more magical these days.
Fair. If you could only take one vacation a year, and one of these two vacations, which would you rather do for the rest of your life? Would you rather go to a luxurious ski lodge and go skiing in the winter, or would you rather go to a tropical island and spend it on the beach?
Beach. It used to be skiing probably before I had kids, but now it's beach. Maybe when they're older, I'll change my tune. But then by that time, I'll be locked into the same beach, I guess.
Exactly, that's the point. All right. Favorite branch of philosophy?
Metaphysics,
Okay. Why?
because it explores basically a lot of the subjects that I enjoy: free will, time travel, a lot of the the bigger questions about life that physics yet can't touch. The philosophy is touching it.
And one more for you, since it's the holiday season. Um, Pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Pumpkin pie. Oh
Okay.
no, no, I like apple pie too. If you had ice cream, oh, these
Choose
are
one.
hard. That's a really hard one. But I guess it's a pumpkin pie first because I make a really good pumpkin pie.
Okay. But what if it's not yours? Because you don't make apple pie, so
I don't make apple pie, no.
that's not a fair comparison. So what if
I
it's
think
not
it
yours?
depends who makes it then.
Uh, the world's best baker makes both of them.
Then apple pie. What about you?
Apple.
Apple
I
with
love
some
apple
ice cream?
pie, but apple is more complex, with the cinnamon, sometimes and the crunchiness versus the softness of the baked apple. Yeah.
That does sound really nice. Now I want some. Well, Patrick Conboy, thank you once again for being on this podcast episode. We're looking forward to seeing you back next year with your built out office and your tale of your experience in the Temescal. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot. I mean, I'm building this from scratch. Patrick is helping me, but the fact that you are listening to this episode and other episodes, I'm really, really grateful. I didn't think I could do something like this before. And so the fact that you're here and listening really warms my heart and gives me a bit more pride in myself, in the work that I do, but also makes me feel really connected, like I said, to all of you and to the universe at large. Happy New Year. I wish for you to have a lot of wealth, health, and love and joy. And I'm looking forward to our next episode. Thank you for tuning in and listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the Quantum Couch with someone you think might love this space too. If you would like to reach out, you can email me at thequantumcouch@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for The Quantum Couch. Thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm Dr. Ina Conboy. Take good care, stay curious, and keep exploring. The information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Listening to this podcast does not create a physician-patient relationship with Dr. Ina Conboy or any guest on this podcast. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you heard on this podcast.